Hello and welcome back to another episode here at the Women's MTV Network podcast. Today, we're bringing in someone who has shaped the bike industry from multiple angles. She's worked at Liv Cycling, Yeti Cycles, she's run her own marketing agency, and now she's leading bike marketing for the Americas at Continental. Janette Sherman has spent her career helping outdoor and bike brands tell better stories, reach more riders, and build real community. As a woman working inside of one of the biggest industries in mountain biking, including a global company like Continental, she's had a front row seat to how the bike world is changing and how much work there is still to do. We're diving into her career path, what it's really like building marketing in a male-dominated space, how big brands navigate authenticity, and what she wants the future of women in the bike industry to look like. Welcome, Jeanette. We are so stoked to have you here today.
What a nice intro. Thank you. Oh gosh, I'm gonna read that more often. No, I really appreciate that. Thank you. That was so generous, and it's so lovely to be here. Thank you, Mia, and thank you for all the things you do in the bike industry and for women. That's a big deal. And the fact that you've taken the initiative to do that is something that deserves recognition. So yeah, awesome. Thank you.
You are too kind. Unlike you, I am not a veteran. You are, which is why I really love that you've agreed to chat with us today, because
yeah, of course,
we've met a few times. We had fun at Sea Otter this year, and we were just talking about, oh gosh, let's start planning for Sea Otter. It's what, like 6 months away?
Yeah, yes.
Sure.
That's right. Yeah, that'll do. I already, like I told you, I already have the planning sheet started.
I mean, you got it, right?
But say again.
You got to start early. I heard, I was talking to Sarah Stutman from Lifetime, and she said, oh yeah, the Sea Otter ends and we start planning like the next week for next year.
We'd already picked our new booth location, which isn't far from where we were the week that Sunday already. So yeah, and then I even had called, we were talking about changing a location for an event, and two people had already called prior to me that could potentially would have taken the dates, you know? So they were working like 3 of us same time. That was about 2 months ago.
Damn, girl. Well, I remember like Conti is one of the biggest sponsors for Sea Otter, and huge name. You guys had an amazing presence there. It was gigantic. Were you the judge of the track stand competition?
Well, I mean, it's not really, you either follow the rules and you make it or you don't. So yes, yeah. Another title sometimes I put on as MC. Yeah, totally. And you'll see a little change this year. We're not going in as title sponsor. We did that for 3 years at Sea Otter, which was great. And I think it was what we needed, Conti needed as a brand, for that brand recognition. I can't take credit for that. That was actually another woman prior to me who isn't in the bike industry any longer, Madonna Conroy. She set that up, and then Kelsey Rollet took it on, and then me. So we will be as a gold sponsor, but continuing our partnership with Lifetime as well. We're expanding into XC, the XC and MTV Grand Prix series. Yeah, it'll be fun.
That's awesome. Okay, we'll talk about all the fun things Conti has coming out soon, but I kind of wanted to start a little bit of your origin story, if you will, and hit skip if you want to like, no, Mia, let's go a little further up.
No, fine. Perfect.
You are from Southern California. We were just talking about that, and we tend to talk really fast, folks from down here. You started in journalism. Is that correct?
Yes, more or less. Kind of. It gets a little, I can explain. That's a long time ago, but yes, I can explain. I do have a journalism background. I have a degree in journalism.
Okay.
University of Oregon. So that was one intended path. So.
And how did you land in bikes from that?
Yeah, great question. So I tend to be, I'm still working through this. I think I told you this before we started pressing record, or before we pressed record. I'm a yes person. It's a problem that I have. So anyway.
I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, I'd say yes a lot. So when I was in college, I wasn't really sure. I thought maybe, I was thinking about going into the outdoor industry. I actually did an internship at a ski resort. And then I also was thinking about campaign management. I'm actually I'm overly into politics, sometimes not very healthy, but anyways, long story short, or journalism. So I did work for an NPR affiliate in college, and then I actually dabbled in NPR, worked for NPR slightly after college, but it didn't really pan out. And I was going to have to, in order to get a break, like move to the South and It's a pretty, honestly, public radio is actually quite cutthroat. And I don't really have the name for it, like Janette Sherman doesn't really have the NPR ring.
You can change that. You know how many people use their name?
There's so many great memes out there about NPR names, which mad respect for those people that make it in that industry. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually got into the bike industry after some stints in the outdoor industry. I worked in like the ski industry quite a bit, off and on, from like 02 to, gosh, was that 07? But dabbling, kind of like still putting my foot back at NPR. So I was confused. I was young. And so, yeah, what actually had happened was I was working for a couple outdoor agencies. I worked for one in Alaska and then a different one in Montana. And frankly, the second one in Montana, which wasn't a fit for me. To be completely transparent, I think we'd probably be fine now, but the owner and I did not get along. And I took a leap and applied for a job at Liv as a demo driver. So I had, prior to that, worked in journalism, done communications management. I was actually the crisis communications and comms manager for a hospital system in Bend, Oregon. I wasn't even 30.
Wow.
I was thinking about that this morning randomly. I'm like,
good.
Who gave me that job? I mean, I was young, really young. And I learned a lot. So at any rate, I took a job at Liv and then as a demo driver, and I was quickly promoted, partially because people were moving up in the brand. Jackie Baker was my predecessor as the US marketing manager for Liv. So I moved into that role, and then I moved into a global role after that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Yeti. And then actually a different agency, an agency owned by someone else, True Communications, where I learned a ton. And then I started my own agency, and then Conti.
See, that's interesting because, so what else did you do at Liv? Like, you started as the demo driver. Did you move up and do communications and marketing at Liv at all? Or
I have a guest star over here. Hey, buddy.
guest star.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. At your time at Liv, did you do any of their marketing and comms as well? Like, so you started as a demo driver.
Exactly. Yeah, I was Liv demo driver on the East Coast, and then, it was East Coast, and then moving into Texas actually too. So it was a pretty massive region. I shared the West Coast was Val Vanderpool. She worked on the west side of the country.
Okay.
And then I moved into the U.S. marketing manager role, so just U.S.
Oh.
And then I went into global. I was the product marketing and communications marketing.
Damn, girl.
Communications manager. Yeah, it was a funky title, something like that. So I helped with the product marketing and communications. But at that point, I mean, this is in 20. I think I've got my years right. 14. Then I moved into the global world, and I remember making the first post for Liv Cycling on Instagram.
Way.
I have never had the guts to look back like, oh God, I really hope they deleted some of those posts. Like, I mean,
you know who you ask? Sierra.
Oh, we should ask Sierra. Yeah, could you spend 8 minutes scrolling back and see?
She's doing
posting something from my juicer, like being like, yeah, that's a great social post. Oh my God.
Yeah, when we all go back to, I think I got on Instagram and right when it must have been 2011, because it was right when they were launching, because I remember posting a photo of my dog when she was like 3 months old, and she would have been 14 this year. So that's like the first thing I have on Instagram is Indy, little Indy in her photo. Anyway, we digress. All right, Liv Cycling. How did you like that role? Was that something you enjoyed, and then you were just ready for something new, and then Yeti came along? Like,
yeah, no, oh my God, it was what an amazing opportunity to shape that brand. I was there when it was Liv Giant, and then we established the brand as a standalone, and it was a really small team doing that. So a group of amazing women out of Taiwan, Nikki Zhang, obviously Bonnie Two's on that team, Amy Stanton, Jen Audia, she was actually the U.S. marketing manager after me. Great, and we're still very close friends. Caroline Washam is on that team. So is that her name? Yes, that's her married name. So that, I mean, the kind of opportunity I had there, it was sort of like pick what you want to do and what you're good at and go and do it. And like that is like, talk about such an incredible opportunity to be able to build something like that. And, I will say, like, would I have gotten the opportunity to go and work for, just Giant or Specialized or whatever? Maybe, I don't know, but there's something to be said for, and I think Liv still very much first stands for this, like giving women opportunity to learn in the industry and get that experience. And to be totally honest, the only reason I left is because they wanted us to keep living in Southern California, and it doesn't suit who I am. I'm a mountain person. I went to school in Oregon, and at that point, I was off and on a ski bum between, the NPR and everything else, working in a hospital. So it just didn't, I didn't know how to build a life there. I couldn't afford a house. It just didn't suit who I am. And Yeti had an opportunity open, and it was actually Elena Caldwell, who's a former, massively important woman to me in the bike industry, who actually recommended, like, hey, you should really look at that Yeti job. And I applied and interviewed and got it. So that moved me forward where I am now.
Which is where you are, the mountains. That's what you love, right?
Totally. Yeah. I'm in Denver, so I can't claim that I live fully in the mountains, but I'm on the Front Range. And my house is 12 minutes from Yeti. So everyone's like, what? It's a good spot, but people around have always like, why did you choose to buy your house here? And I'm like, it's 12 minutes from Yeti.
Yeah.
Without traffic.
Yeah. So, I'm 12 minutes from Liv Giant.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Newbury Park.
Yeah. I'm just down the grade. You just go down Petro, and I'm right there.
Perfect.
So big powerhouses, Liv, Yeti, like you said, you got to shape the brand for Liv, especially when they separated from Giant and became their standalone. They're doing some really great things there. Like Cass is doing some great stuff.
Of course, yeah.
What were your biggest takeaways from those chapters?
Oh, God, wow. Say yes, less. So Chris Conroy is one of the owners of Yeti, and I've shared this story a few times. I shared it with him recently, and he was like, did I say that? That doesn't seem very nice. But Chris is a very transparent and very forward person. Like he's not going to mince words with you. And he once said to me, do less better. And I really try to think about that. And I think maybe he could have said it in a more couth way, but it really stuck with me. And I think about it still to this day, because it is really about what's driving sales and what is, what's really going to push the industry forward. And I think sometimes we can get like wrapped up in those chasing shiny objects and not making sure we're doing what's best for the brand and the industry as a whole. It's easy to do. There's so many wonderful things out there to support, but I think that can be like a massive challenge because like and I'm in this role again, I tend to be a bit of a generalist when it comes to marketing. So I'm in that role again with Conti. Bike is a very small portion of the actual company itself. Continental, before the Imovio spinoff, was a $40 billion company. So we'll see that reassessment in the next couple of years as they spin off Imovio and they spin off Conti Tech, which is like rubber products, hoses, like that, and it'll just be a tire company. But it's still going to be in that multiple B range and billions. So it's a different ballgame over here, but I can be that generalist, and I have to be so strategic because like my time is so limited.
Right.
Outside of that, I really do like. I hope it doesn't sound too generic, but the power of bicycles is so powerful, and I've been able to witness so many people's lives completely transformed through bicycles. And that's, whether that's, such a wonderful human being like Mariana Voss and like what she's done in the bike industry and as one of the most winningest cyclists in the history of the sport, just as a woman. So, I think about RJ Ripper in Nepal, who basically built his own bike. If you watch the film, it's pretty clear that his father is potentially an alcoholic, and he just rises from the ashes of this family that is pretty destitute and has found this amazing career in mountain biking. That's an amazing film by Joey Schussler that I highly recommend, RJ Ripper. And
I just got the chills.
I know, just those stories and like being witness to that, like even just, we did it's kind of a silly program, but it was called Try a Try. Came from Taiwan, but that's amazing. Like, I love it, right? It's a bit on the nose, but just thinking about even the women we supported with, getting them into their first triathlon and triathlon bikes and giving them the training was really awesome. Pretty exciting to see those stories come together.
Yeah. That's so cool. Seeing the stories come together. Yeah. I mean, I think you started at a time in the industry where you really saw a huge shift. I mean, I think I'll touch on this later with you. I have some questions for you about that, but it went from not a lot of women, especially in road or in mountain biking, being represented. We know like Lindsay Richter is one of the OGs in mountain biking. She's been with us for a long time, right? To like now you're seeing the growth of the Tour de France Femmes and Women at Rampage and all of that. Like, what was it like working specifically on women's products? And then women's marketing, what did it teach you about the gaps in the industry when you started at Liv? Because like I said, it's changed, right? It's evolved in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
But what did marketing teach you about the gaps in the industry then?
Well, there were loads and loads of gaps in product. And sometimes I can still recognize those gaps in product. Like I think about grip width, like on mountain bikes, like the literal, I'm always like, I can't reach the shifter.
There's still so much. Like, let's be clear, there's still a lot of gaps for things for women. But back then,
I love those depth course, but I'm like, everyone's like, don't you love the flanges right here? I'm like, never touched them in my life. Like, this is not wide. It's very small. My androgynous little tiny hands here. Any rate, so yeah, the product, we've gone so far. You know, I think we've come a long way holistically, whether that's for women, men, otherwise, like we've come so far. But there's still, like little gaps right there. I don't know. I'm like, where do I find those grips? Like I asked my mechanic just yesterday, kid you not, yesterday. I'm like, where do I buy those? And I've been riding for years. In terms of marketing, I think there are aspects around storytelling, but man, like anything. So I think there are pendulums that swing, right? Like in that, okay, the story is too like jargon and bro and like, that doesn't resonate. People aren't understanding that. And you will even find that regionally, like, people, having worked at Liv and on the global side, like, we would have a lot of feedback around like, hey, this feels really like American and like that looks scary and not fun. Getting a picture of Carolyn Washam, riding this, crazy DH line or using pictures from UCI doesn't resonate with a different audience. And this isn't, I don't want to say this is like how particular to Asia, but that was feedback we would get from Taiwan quite a bit about the Asian market. So it isn't to say that they aren't going to get there, or there aren't people that ride like that there, but that was feedback we got. Right. Even now, sometimes we get, okay, that feels too soft, right? So that's what feedback I would get at Yeti. That is a term Chris Conway will say to you, that's soft. I have a funny story about that. Anyway,
we're here for stories, friends, or if you want.
I think saying yes too much. One time I decided it was going to be my job to like design the booth for Eurobike, and I have no place designing a booth for Eurobike. Anyways, we get to the booth, and Chris has seen it now and again, but he says, "Oh, this is so soft." And then Hoog, the other owner, he said, "Can we back a truck up here and put a campfire and like hang out and bro out, like mount like." And so they're not against that part of mountain biking, but the brand is very like cornerstone of racing and telling that racing story. Like I don't want to say they're like, they're hard, but they don't like things that are quote soft. So anyway, I got the nickname. You get many nicknames at Yeti, but the nickname for a while was Campfire Girl. I'm like, I love going and riding my bike and then sitting around a campfire after, and they're like, yeah, we could jump. So,
how long did you use that nickname for?
Oh, don't worry. I got bit by a rattlesnake not long after, and then I changed. I don't think I can actually say that name on
I'm sorry. You got bit by a rattlesnake?
And not in Southern California, here. So yes.
So we're going to pause for a second because I need to know this story. I'm sorry, folks. Can you share that with us?
Totally.
My biggest fear in life, Jeanette, like, and I had a rattlesnake, Southern California, there's rattlesnakes everywhere.
That's why I can't believe I never got bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like real quick anecdote, 2 summers ago, we were riding up here in Newbury Park, my wife and I, as we do.
Yeah.
She caught up to me on the downhill. She's way lighter than me, but she was like so proud. She's like, oh, I'm catching up to you. And I turned back and I'm like, no, you're not. And the second I turned and I started to face the trail again, there was this fat rattlesnake across the fucking trail. It was big.
Yeah.
I lifted my feet off the pedals.
Yeah.
And I swerved. I didn't know where its head was or where its tail was. I just swerved. And then I stopped maybe like 10 feet to see where my wife was. And as I turned around, the snake whipped around and struck right under her down tube.
Oh my God.
And if her feet weren't level on the pedal, if one was down in that, she would have been struck by the snake. Like, it scared the living shit out of me. Okay, enough about me. Please tell me about this harrowing story of you getting bitten by a rattlesnake.
It's scarier than what I went through. I was actually just walking. It's a testament to not walk or go hiking. No, you should go hiking.
I'm on a bike.
Anyway, no, I wasn't on a bike. I was at lunch break at Yeti. They gave us a 90-minute lunch break every day. You can go do anything you want. They encourage you to ride. So that's the whole lunch ride. It's true. The majority of the company goes and rides at lunch. We're allowed to go do, and I got to stop clicking this pen. Can you hear it? Click.
No, I can't.
Good. Okay, good. So, I was on lunch break and I was walking my dog and I didn't even see it. And we definitely, like, people, if you live here long enough, days that are like snaky, you call them snaky days. Or there's snaky times a day too. Like, you obviously in the summer, in the mornings and the evenings, it's more likely they'll be on the trail because it's more open and they can warm up there. But this was early. It was actually the week before Sea Otter because I was supposed to go. And I was just walking and the grass was really tall and it had snowed the weekend before, but then it got really warm, like 70. And it'll do that a lot in the Front Range. Like, it's like snows 3 days ago and then it's 70.
Right.
So I knew it. I remember thinking to myself, gosh, it's snaky today, but I got to get him out. He's walking. He wasn't on leash, but while I will say that you shouldn't do that, and I've learned since then, that wasn't the issue. I'm kind of glad we weren't attached to each other. And I think he walked by and that snake thought, hey, I just got out of hibernation. It's rad. I'm going to get myself a good snack. And I was the next one to walk by. So it struck me. It feels like a wasp sting, to be honest with you. And I was like, oh, I looked back and I saw it. I actually looked up first thinking wasp. And then I looked down and it was coiled up on the trail. So the good news is I didn't get bit in a vein, and I'm no expert on rattlesnake bites, so I don't want to pretend like, okay, if you get bit in the vein, it's over.
But it's your experience.
I've read since then. There's a great article in Outside Magazine. I'm forgetting his name right now. Aaron something or other. He was bit, and it was horrific. Like, I'm pretty sure he got bit in the vein. And a guy, not but like a month or so after me, was bit in Golden Gate Park, north of me here, and he died in like 30 minutes. Very terrible. So yeah, it is like something you take very seriously. I didn't take it as seriously. I did call 911. Ultimately, I did get an ambulance. I was given anti-venom is what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not venom, anti-venom.
Yeah. Venom, something. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if I remember correctly, it was 12 vials. And I was in the ICU initially because they're worried about like how you're reacting on compartment syndrome because you do swell pretty badly. So I was bit in the ankle and it did swell up about to my mid belly.
Oh my God, it went that up your body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it causes like nausea, face numbness, sweating, vision issues, like all these things while it's like in your system.
Yeah.
Once you start getting the anti-venom, like it's pretty quick how quickly you recover. And my leg is completely fine. I don't even have a scar. I'm pretty freckly, so you can't even really tell where it is.
This is like
you get hit by a rattlesnake, please call 911. If you don't have reception, please continue to keep trying 911. You can also text 911, and cell phone towers are set to point towards any phone that's making an emergency dial. So keep trying. So anytime you're in an emergency situation and you need help, keep dialing, keep texting 911. Stay calm. And I will tell you this last thing because, politics, that my bill, they sent me the bill so that you could see it before they sent it to insurance. And it was $160,000. So for ICU, that was a day and a half in the ICU and a day and a half in orthopedics. So I had insurance through Yeti, great great health insurance, and I ended up paying for the ambulance and I think $150 for the ER visit, etc. But it's hard to say what that would cost me now with the way insurance is, and that would have bankrupted me. So please, can we please provide healthcare, affordable healthcare to the people of this country? We are the only country we're the richest country in the world, and we do not provide healthcare to our citizens, and it makes me irate. So,
yes.
And for God's sakes, make it affordable.
Yeah, dude.
Shut down the government for as long as you need to. Not that people should have benefits, but
when I was trying to explain insurance here to my mom, who's from Australia, I was explaining to her what a copay was.
Oh God.
And she couldn't comprehend what the heck a copay was. She's like, but you're paying insurance and then you still have to pay until you meet a certain amount. And I'm like, yeah, that's what she literally could not comprehend what that meant.
Well, it impacts so many things in our lives. Like I think about some of the career choices I've made and why I made them. And part of that is access to insurance.
It shouldn't be tied to jobs. Insurance should not be tied to your job.
For sure.
Well, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you survived and your dog was okay. And
he was totally fine.
A bit. Damn, that new fear unlocked. Hiking. Thank you. We will not. Nope.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at hiking. Snake. You can get snake gaiters.
Yeah. Snake gaiters is the way to go. Like my wife's an archaeologist. She's often out in the field, and she's taught me a ton with that. I actually remember the first time I heard a rattlesnake when her and I first started dating. We were hiking, and she is the one that brought my awareness to that. I had no clue what that sound was until she stopped. We were hiking at Paramount Ranch, and she's like, "Do you stop for a second? Do you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "That is a rattlesnake. Don't panic." And like we went through the whole spiel. But anyway.
Yeah.
We digress.
That's the only deadly thing you don't have in Australia are rattlesnakes.
No, but we have the top 10 most deadliest snakes in the world. At least the snakes.
I read it.
You know what? At least the snakes here warn you, right? In Australia, they don't have the courtesy to do that.
They don't warn you when they're hunting. If they want to actually bite you, and you're not harassing the snake. So I wasn't harassing. They did. So when they are hunting, they're not going to warn you.
Right. They'll just.
I was not warned.
That's right. There's no. Yeah, you would have heard it if it was that close.
I did not hear it. No.
Okay.
I'm also deathly afraid of tall grass and very thin, very like narrow trails. Like it could be this is just by my house, by the way, where I got bit, and we still go ride there quite often because it's just a really nice gravel ride. And if we're on something that's too narrow with grass, I am like sweating, just so nervous. Dude. And then you put me on like something with lots of rocks and a little space, and I'm like, fine, this is fine.
Yeah,
much better.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I jumped over a snake with Sierra when Sierra was here a year ago. We were going so fast. I think we were doing like 40 miles an hour on this downhill. Shocker. And she jumped over it, and I saw her jump, and I was like, what the jumped over it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us, that harrowing story of you and the rattlesnake.
Don't worry, I tied in some politics. Right, so.
That's always fun. I love it. Joining Continental. Big brand, big structure, a little bit different. I mean, different than Yeti, smaller company, right? Still roles, marketing, all of that good stuff.
Yep.
Continental being such a massive global company, what does your role as America's marketing manager actually look like? Could you break that down for us a little bit? Is it like a jack of all trades?
Yes. Jill of all trades. Yeah. Master of none. Definitely. And it's kind of like even at now almost 47 years old, I'm like, whoo, yeah, I am. I tend to work in that generalist area. And I'm pretty good at it. Like I'm working on that too. I am pretty good at it. So thank God. My role covers, so there's a global team and that's run by Kelsey Rollet. And there are things that trickle down into our market. Absolutely. And there are aspects of that marketing that 100% influence what happens in our region. So again, I'm Canada to Argentina. Latin America obviously is a developing market. Central America, US is our biggest market. Canada is right there. I mean, in terms of like, it's not anywhere near as big as the US, but it is a robust market for what the size per capita. And obviously avid cyclists. So my role will incorporate everything from brand strategy for the Americas, looking at, how am I taking those global resources and then repurposing for that market, making sure it fits for market, and utilizing those tools that way. Athlete management, the event management. So we are presenting sponsor for the Monster Pro DH series run by Clay Harper, which is bringing essentially downhill back to the US. And then we are a partner in Lifetime Grand Prix, which I feel comfortable sharing. We are the new gravel and mountain bike tire for the Lifetime Grand Prix, which is pretty exciting. So we have a robust list of athletes in that group, obviously in mountain bike as well. And then we have a smaller representation in the US and road simply because we do take that halo effect down from the global teams. So we sponsor some of the biggest teams in the world on road, and we really feel that trickle down effect. Like, Tour de France is the most widely watched sporting event in the world. And that's why, yes, yeah. When it's true. I know World Cup. Yes, I asked that question. So, and I should find that stat for you. According to there's an individual who literally that's their only job at Conti, managing that sponsorship. So that's actually out of what we call PLT, passenger light truck. So Continental passenger light truck is the sponsor of Tour de France. The bicycle brand benefits from that, but there's so much crossover in that market. It's an affluent market. They're interested in high-end product, want a higher end tire for their car, to be a higher end tire. So, and being, again, the most watched sporting event on the planet. So that's, taking that halo effect on the athlete side. What else am I missing? Events. Along with that is loads of distributor relationships, retailer relationships, looking at collab and marketing opportunities with like retailers, not with like, I was going to say distributors and retailers, but these are retailers especially that e-retailer, can sell online, Amazon partnerships, whether we like it or not.
Wow. Yeah, we have our own.
Yeah, well, we have to sell through Amazon, or we choose to, I guess I should say. So that all kind of comes under my purview. I have a great team, amazing, I guess it's now 6 other guys, men and me, not unusual, but they're, super awesome team, one of the best teams I've ever worked on, super hard working, and thank God they all step in and help me. Yeah. And that also includes things like, point of purchase, looking at materials and marketing materials for our market that help sell that product. Yeah. Yeah. The hardest part, I will say, is the accounting. Whose idea was it to allow? This is why one of the number one reasons I didn't want to have my own business anymore. I'm like, I should not be doing accounting. I'm going to go to jail. Oh,
it's really hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
I was doing
simple math, but
it's simple math, but at the same time, like, that's not what I know.
Yeah.
I went into law for a reason. I don't like math. And then when I got to wills and trust and I had to learn how to do fractions, relearn how to do fractions, right? Like, oh my God. It was good that one of my besties was a math major. Like, her undergraduate was in mathematics. And so she had to sit there for like explaining fractions.
When I get too far down in the ruler, when you're like really measuring something, like really measuring it, you're like, that's 9/16? Like, I don't know. It's bad. I got made fun of recently for that one. So
that's hilarious.
I count it. I'm like, our 16 parts, and then that is the 7th part. Yeah.
Totally. No.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. You really are a Jill of all trades. Like you have your toe dipped in a lot of different areas there. So, and that's a big area, by the way, like from Canada to Argentina. Like that's the whole of Americas. That's why you are the Americas marketing manager. That's insane, Jeanette. What are the biggest differences you've experienced moving from the niche brand like Yeti to the global corporation? I guess we kind of talked on it, but is there something else there that you've experienced as like the biggest difference? Is it working with a global team?
Like Yeti, we were a global brand, right? But super niche, right? And at Liv, I worked on the global side of it and the US side of it, so I could understand kind of how both of those things worked. To make it true, it sometimes is the accounting. You're just like, I could walk an invoice down that had the GL number to Lizzie down the hall in accounting, and she would just put it through. And now I have to go through like 10 people, and I'm not sure that I'm getting the right answer. I think no. I mean, from a marketing perspective, I mean, it almost is like the product itself is so different.
Well, it
Because
is.
like
Yeah.
I'm not looking at selling hundreds of items, that's a Yeti mindset, right? Liv can be both. Liv is, they were at that point when I was there, and I believe they still are, apparel and there's accessories and things like that. And they did sell thousands of bikes. I mean, and a
Right.
light is like, thousands upon thousands of bikes those bikes are sold globally. And Yeti hits those thousands numbers. I wouldn't know those numbers now, nor would I be able to share them. But I have to really think in thousands of units. And that's something I say, my team that I work with, there are times where, we have those conversations about, okay, what are we going to do here? And I said, okay, does that sell tens of tires, hundreds of tires, or thousands of tires?
Right.
And like, we got to, at minimum, be thinking about the hundreds of tires and ideally thinking about thousands of tires. So I think shifting that mindset for myself and for my team and really taking on those projects that help us do that strategically is really important. And from the scope of it, like Conti in the Americas is actually small for now. That's why it's just me. So please buy a bunch of tires so I can hire more people, please, and give them healthcare. Truth be told, like, it could be similar numbers to, even where Yeti was when I started with them, so we're in those millions, right? Millions of dollars. I can't share specifics, but that's where it's like, okay, there are times we can get, and like, we want to think big, and push up into that, some ways manage up and show what we can do in the Americas and see, like, here's some initiatives that are really working on our market. Maybe they'll work for you, but you also have to like, okay, what's realistic? You got to stay down here. So yeah. And I was really lucky. I worked in a lot of like, heydays of brands, Liv going into their own brand and seeing that growth in that brand. And when I worked at Yeti, and that was a team effort, but man, we were growing upwards of 25 to 30% year over year. Massive growth. And Conti's doing great. We're doing really well right now in bike tire sales. I'm really proud of what we have accomplished as a brand, before I was even there and now, taking market share from some other brands. Maybe it start with an M in the mountain bike side. And frankly, even continuing to grab market share in road, which is crazy considering that is a retracting market. But it's exciting to see where that's going to go. I do think the industry is getting healthier after we went through this huge boom, right? And we all were like, there were brands who were like, we're going to ride this forever. That didn't work out so well.
Unfolding right now, which is not.
Yeah, it's awful. And I don't want to see that. But I do think there's something to be said about like, how can we play smart? And that's the reality. We've got to play smart. I think we can rebound it here in the next couple years, and we just got to make really smart decisions.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really sad to see like YT and Revel and some of the brands that I mean, YT's been around longer than Revel, but still, it's just still so sad to see so many. I had heard the other day, I don't know if this was true or not, that Jayco almost folded. One of the biggest cycling teams in the world. Like, times are tough when a Tour de France men and women's team is not doing well. So I hope
Revel's back. Revel's back.
Revel's back. Adam's back. I was texting him the other day. We're trying to get me on the rerun next year so that I can do a review on it once my ankle is back.
Yeah. Size do you ride?
It depends. It's small or a medium. I have a medium
in my garage right now. That's the other bike I got when all my bikes got stolen 2 months ago. So yes, I got the rerun and the Rascal. I'm all Revel.
Yeah, same. I have the Rascal and the Rail, and I had the Ranger, but we did a review on that. I sent that back. But at the rerun, like, Revel is the brand that I love. Like, their suspension platform to me is incredible. One of my buddies just got the rerun, and tell me if you think of it like this. He had never ridden the Revel, the CBF suspension before, but he was talking to me yesterday. He's like, I depleted that battery in one ride. I climbed like 1,800 feet or something like that. And then he said,
like 3,000, unless it was like super tech 1,800.
It was tech. He's up in where Jess is up in NorCal. And he told me that it climbs really well and it was very nimble. And I'm like, those are the two things that Revel is known for, even if you're in a longer wheelbase, because I have a medium Rascal, but a small rail.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because of the wheelbase. So like the small rail is a bigger travel bike. It's a 170, 155. Whereas the Rascal is a true trail bike. It's 130, 140, right? So the wheelbase and the chain stays a little bit, it's equivalent, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress, but Revel is, I'm so stoked.
Great bikes. I would agree with the nimbleness of the climbing. Yes. Yeah. I got up some things the other day. I haven't gotten up. I mean, it's an e-bike, but that I didn't get up on some other e-bikes. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff out there. I need to get on the Yeti e-bike. I've never ridden a Yeti.
1000%. I really also, that Yeti MT was on my list. They just didn't have the small in stock. Sorry, Adam. I loved them both. But then I ended up going to rerun because it was in stock. The MT is a magical bike, and I highly encourage everyone to ride that bike. The 6-bar is, it rides like a much longer travel bike. Yeah. It's so forgiving, and it's like butter.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Ride it. Go ride it.
More about it. So being a woman in the bike industry, you know, across your career, I can only imagine some of the challenges that you have faced working not only for yourself at one point with your own agency, but across all of these different brands. Like, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a woman in this space? And do you continue to face them, or like, do you see it getting better?
Yeah. I think it's getting, I don't know. God, I shouldn't say I don't know.
You can.
I think it's getting better. I do think that it requires reminding still. And I mean, I had a conversation today where a team has come to me who we sponsored last year, and they've had to change because they were on a brand that has folded and now moving to a new brand. And there's no woman on it's a DH team. And I was like, guys, like, I need you to get a girl, you know, and they said, or a woman, a female on this one, female writer. And it wasn't that they didn't, like, these people are very aware. They're not those guys, you know. I 100% believe, you know, they're trying to do that. It's also a team that's affiliated with Clay Harper at DH, Pro DH, and he has done loads for the women's field. Has really provided a lot of opportunity for female DH riders. What they said is like, hey, you know, it was just like we could barely scrape by getting the 3 riders that we had, you know, sponsored and moving forward with that. And I said, okay. I said, I will consider the sponsorship this year. You will not receive sponsorship from Conti next year without a female on the team. That is your mandate.
Yeah.
So I'm in a place where I can do that. I'm trusted by my boss to do that. For me, what I will always take, you know, Chris Conroyism as well, is that like it needs to be representative of the field. So right now I'm not in a brand that is female focused. And that was a big transition for me from Liv to Yeti. And I would get feedback from Chris like, hey, like, let's be honest about who our audience is, and that, you know, I can't have you as a marketing manager just focusing too much energy on women's market. And I would say, okay, but let's keep in mind that everybody else here, there's 6 women working at this company, 6. And there were at that point, I think 75 people working there. And I said, everybody else here is focused on men. It's just your bias. You're going to. So I'm going to have a bias as well. But I think it's pretty important. And this is the reasons why, you know, I want to do this, or why I feel like we need to push towards this. Now, I will say we did discontinue that Yeti Betty line at Yeti, and I was a part of that decision. And that is more than anything because, and I probably would have preferred if one of the engineers spoke to this, but there were so many advancements in suspension technology at that point that you could tune your suspension to fit for lighter riders. And I think, frankly, that is one of the most important things when it comes to mountain biking. And ultimately, don't take offense, Liv, but there are, just in a way, like sometimes helmets don't fit you. There are certain bike brands that you just don't fit as well on, or maybe you're stuck between a size. And so frame design, I think, you know, we're not going to always nail it for every woman. We're not going to always nail it for every man or anybody in between or in the spectrum, whatever. That's not, truthfully, in my opinion, someone who doesn't and design bikes, that's not possible. So I think that we can sit there and, you know, potentially look at like the brand was losing money on that and having to close out certain sizes, and it just wasn't working anymore. And I thought to myself, okay, we're going to pull back there. Where can we invest otherwise?
Right.
Is it in one of the cornerstones of that brand, which is racing? Is it, we are really going to invest in that women's apparel line and make sure. And I think that Yeti, frankly, has some of the best apparel in the market, along with Shredley. And they've invested a lot of that and listened to us. And a lot of females who live here and beyond gave feedback to Yeti for that apparel. So I think it's, you have to balance that out. And I do that at Conti too, So when I do look at it's obviously the athlete thing is so apparent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is looking at the athlete list and, okay, where are we in terms of the male-female balance? And if it's not there, I will make sure that it happens. And I try to stay pretty balanced because I do think, I think women's cycling is riveting and so exciting and people love it. I mean, we always watch the ladies races for UCI DH first. That is the only sport we watch in the household is UCI, well, consistently UCI DH and some free ride. We don't watch football. We don't watch soccer. We don't watch we don't watch anything else. That's all we watch. And we always watch it first and we love it and it's exciting. And I mean, those women are phenomenal. So,
I mean, even if you look at cross country nowadays, with some of these women that are riding now, they're riding some gnarly shit on cross country bikes.
I know.
Like 110 mil drop.
I know.
What?
I just can't give up 2 days on the weekend. I can't give up 2 nights to watch. I would watch. That would be the second sport we watch. Would be XC. It's really remarkable. Yeah.
And it's growing, I think, bigger than anything else. I feel like freeride to a point is very niche compared to the way cross country is going right now, and gravel too. Gravel is freaking exploding. I love that you said what you said. I mean, and you're very candid, and I love your candor in this, where you're like, we were part of the decision in closing this out, but the condition was we reframed and we made that balance in other areas to still support women. So it didn't close completely. You just restructured it. That's really freaking awesome that you did that. What's one of the big things that you think big brands could be doing better when it comes to supporting women, like both internally and in marketing?
Yeah, internally, I think it's giving women the chance. I think there's so many, I mean, we have the opportunity to give so many people that haven't had the chance, like in this industry, BIPOC, whether that's LGBTQA, transgender. I really think it's really important to give those opportunities to those people. And we can always go back to the age old, like, oh, they don't have experience. Well, they don't have experience because people aren't.
Literally what I deal with the network. It's like, well, you may not have this or you may not have that, and I'm like, but give us a chance to show the chance. Our newsletter open rate is 76%. We may not have 1 million people subscribed.
Yeah.
But it's 76% of a niche of people that open our newsletter.
Who are invested, captivated, interested. Yeah.
Who intentionally subscribed to that newsletter. You know what I mean? So sorry.
Super qualified audience. Yeah. I 100% agree. Gosh, in terms of marketing, man, I mean, I think I saw a statistic the other day. I'm not going to quote it correctly, but it was about ski films actually, and it was remarkable to see the amount of men versus women in ski films. I think if you haven't met her yet, she's actually in the ski world. Her name's Erin Spong, and she does dabble in the bike world because Sierra and I brought her in at the Rush Foundation and with working with Rebecca. And now she works with Breck Epic, but she's an amazing skier. And so she's a very worthwhile follow if you love skiing and love, she's like you in that she also is a product reviewer. Anyways, I'll send you her info, Erin's phone. But she was, I think, had shared something around, it was either her or, I'm going to forget her last name. I'm so sorry. And I love her. Caroline, the woman who ran for office in Utah, also a skier.
Oh,
I'm forgetting her last name right now. Forgive me. I actually love her. Anyways, she shares a lot of information from the outdoor women's sports, but it is thousands of men who have been in ski films and hundreds of women.
Yeah.
I would venture to guess if we did the math on mountain bike films, and that's just one aspect of marketing, right?
Right.
But if we went through social posts, if we went through all these things, like really putting women out front, and beyond that, let's put BIPOC, let's put people with lifestyles that aren't like what we maybe call this is the cycling lifestyle, let's give people that space and that recognition. And, I think it's so important their contributions. You know, I remember seeing on the cover, I remember seeing not Brooke. No, yes, Bad Girl Brooke. What's her last name? God, I'm 47, so you can, you know, I'm talking about the artist, mountain biker.
Yes.
Forgive me, everyone, forgive me. I don't know her well. I've never met her. But I remember seeing her on the cover of Dirt Rag the first time in her dreadlocks, and I was like, whoa, hey, you know, and I want to be honest about that reaction, because that was like, that's a person with dreadlocks. How did she put her helmet on? I'm like, that's so good for me. That's really good for me. Like, yeah, what is that like? Having to, you want to, yes, you should have every right to wear your hair like that. It's part of who you are and works better probably. Like, I get it. But I remember being so like, that's so tiny. Just that one thing, like but it really like, okay, I need to open up like how I think about like other people in this space and where they fit and how I help welcome them in.
You know, I think I shared with you that I almost quit doing this stuff. Like I was done with the network. It was so taxing. I work full time. We all work full time. All the ladies that help out, we all work full time, and there's a lot going on. I had this injury, but recently, what kind of pulled me back in to really want to stick, especially with the podcast, is someone reached out to me about something biking related. They wanted help with this event that they were creating, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, just let me know. I'll connect you with whoever you want, etc." And then I talked to her on the phone, and she goes, "It would be a shame if you stopped doing this, because I remember when I first listened to your podcast and I got emotional thinking that I heard a woman talking about bikes behind the mic.
Oh, wow.
And it was just women, and it was all women. And I was like, oh my God, I almost started crying. And she goes, and then I listened to every single one of your podcasts, and I'm like, no, come on. But that, Jeanette, like it went back to that North Star for me, which was to help women. And if it's one freaking person, I don't care. It sounds cliche. You can believe me or not. But if I can help one person find a bike or a gear review or connect them with a coach or go to a camp, I have succeeded. And that kind of brought me back to that center of like having you on here, a woman who's worked in so many global brands and has all this experience, a Jill of all trades, and can talk to that is incredible. Like, I hope someone listening will reach out to you for advice, or, you know, my next question to you here is about mentorship and guidance, and like, let's go into it. What advice would you give women who want to get into marketing or a leadership role in the bike/outdoor world? What would you say to someone who came to you with that?
And I should back up like 10 minutes, because one thing I do want to share is that I've known Lindsay Richter since probably 2005, 2006, when I lived in Bend and I worked at the ski resort, and then I worked in the hospital system. And then we just became friends because I rode mountain bikes, and she was always so great. Jeanette, I'll help you get down that rock, like that rock roll, no problem. Like, when at the time she was married to Kurt, and same thing, he would come and be like, you got that, you know, like, and talk about someone mentoring you years ago. And Cass, similar, she also lived in Bend at the time.
Bend, I think.
What's the Bend? The Bend connection. Yeah, totally. And so when she was applying to Liv, you know, she called me and asked me about it, and I was like, you would be so great for that role. I mean, she has gone above and beyond anything I ever did there, but it's so funny how like we've all kind of, it is like the mentorship aspect and the mentor-mentee or whatever, just those relationships are really helpful in having support. You know, Ash, I didn't hire Ash at Liv, but man, there was a time when Rome Fest was like, we weren't sure it was going to take off. And like, she's calling me at Yeti, and I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to do. You're going to do a 2-for-1 deal, and and this is happening, and Sedona's happening. And she's like, okay, it's happening. And I'm like, what do I have to do? I'll be there. Like, whatever. I'm not taking responsibility. Ash is a mastermind. Like, she is one of the most sharp marketing minds I've ever met. And so well-rounded and has so many skills I don't, that I love working with her, because I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of that. And can you do the PowerPoint? Great, thanks. So there's so many amazing women. The mentorship aspect of it, I think I work in the Uplift program, and I was really fortunate. Actually, we want to really throw it back. There was a program called Camber Outdoors. It unfortunately folded, maybe under some nefarious state issues or things are going on over there, but nonetheless, they offered so many great mentorships. And I was actually mentored by a woman at Bell. who's actually since left the industry, but I'm still in touch with her, and she taught me so much. So those mentorship programs are remarkable. Reach out to Uplift if you're interested in that. Reach out to women in the industry. You'd be surprised, like touch points on LinkedIn, like don't hold back. I think of Liz Walker, who I work with now at Conti. She worked at Liv Cycling. Jen Audio hired both Ash and Liz. Yes, I did tell Liz she had better apply for the job at Conti. She was so qualified, like she just blew the competition out of the water. So those relationships, whether we like it or not, it's really important, but don't be afraid. Like I will give 15, 30 minutes to anyone that want to chat about career growth. And that the number one thing is like, people would ask me that a lot at Liv. Oh, how did you get this job? How did you get to be a demo driver? I do have a personality suited to that. I am, while I call myself, this is also a Liz Walkerism, an introverted extrovert. And I'm very extroverted, but I need that charge time. And actually being a demo driver made that even more pronounced in my life.
Right.
There are aspects of like knowing how your personality fits in those situations. So like, you don't have to be that much of an extrovert in other roles. But it's apply. You just gotta do the resume, apply for the job, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to have those conversations and talk to people and get to know people and ask them how it happened.
For sure. So based on that, like what's a lesson that you've learned the hard way that you wish someone would have told you sooner? There's probably many, but what stands out to you?
I mean, it's always probably the do less better for sure.
Thank you, Chris.
No, I think it is. Listen more. You have a podcast where you talk the whole time. I think, and I've actually really picked that up from Kelsey Rollet, who is on the global side of our business. And, she was my buddy when I started. You get set up with a buddy at Conti, and thank God for her, because talk about so many systems to navigate her. Kelsey is an incredibly talented marketer and very process oriented. So she's really complimentary. But like learning, even like I'm not the best negotiator because I can be overly transparent and candid, right? Like sometimes you shouldn't show all your cards, but beyond that, just listen.
Yeah. 100%.
People like that, right? Like, well, I shouldn't speak for you.
No, but it's true. I'm the same way. I tend to talk a lot, and being in the role that I have been with my full-time job, having to do a lot of legal work, you can't show all your cards. You have to listen. You have to listen. And one of my biggest mentors, rest in peace, she wasn't a direct mentor, was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because when I was in law school, everything that we learned about that woman was, there you go, RBG for the win. That's like her calmness and the way that she listens and takes it in. And always had a quote that I'm probably going to butcher, but it was something to the effect of, there's no need to raise your voice in an argument. You listen to what they say and you give your rebuttal, but you don't have to yell or scream to make a point. And like, that's classic Ruth Bader Ginsburg. If you watch her in front of the Supreme Court talk, she's just so fucking smart. She's just so good. And that's the same thing. I have to learn to not react and listen and just take a beat. And my boss says that to me all the time. When I first started working for her, incredible lawyer. She's an incredible lawyer. And she would say, Mia, you're such a baby lawyer. You may be 40, but you're such a baby lawyer. This is like 5 years ago when I started working. Because you gotta, you're right. You gotta listen. You gotta take a step back.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's not always as complicated, right? Like we can always say like, oh, what is that little thing that's going to make everything come together for me, or make that thing happen. And it can be sometimes something so simple, right? Yeah.
100%. So let's shift a little bit. We're coming into an hour, and I usually try and keep these like,
if you stuck around this long, we got some gems coming up. No.
Oh yeah, we do. Because my next question for Jeanette is, what consumer or industry trends are you paying attention to the most right now?
Oh gosh. Wow. I mean, obviously we're so tuned into the tire world.
Yeah.
And with like the bike industry is so tiny. So Sean Cochran is, by the way, my counterpart at Schwalbe.
Okay.
also lived in Bend, and we became friends when I was pretty new to mountain biking, and he's a remarkable athlete. He comes from a very athletic family. Any rate, he also works hard, but he's a very athletic guy. Would always take me under his wing. Oh, come on, Janelle, I'll take you. Whatever. And I ride with him and our buddy DJ a lot. But he's my counterpart at Schwalbe, and I will give them kudos. The radials are actually really interesting and ride pretty darn well. They take some getting used to. So I'm not saying over here, that Conti's going to go get into the radial world. That's probably not going to happen. But I do think it's really interesting, I think, to see brands taking different takes on, tires. Tires have been, around since bike tires have been around since 1800s. So yeah, like late 1800s, maybe a little before that. I was just reading something about Conti history, and I think we were the first to produce a bike tire in Germany in the 1800s. So
I did not.
So there's obviously the 32 is like, of course we're watching that 32 bike tire size. No. Mia, and I'm saying the same thing, but people said that about 29. So that said, I'm going to reserve my judgment.
Okay.
On that. I don't know enough. I mean, the things we've gotten to work are pretty remarkable since, even I've been riding bikes. Like, we didn't have proper seat droppers then. We had them underneath the nose of the saddle. I didn't have one of those. My friend Lizzie had one, and it was terrifying watching her use them. Take your hand off the handlebar and do that. So, and even just like you're talking about suspension technology and the platforms that have come along. And I remember riding the first 2929 and being like, oh, the toe overlap and the size small was terrifying. So I will not reserve my judgments on 32. Remains to be seen. Other trends in the industry, gosh, it's always such a pendulum. I see brands that'll participate and really do these like participating in events and making like very intentional marketing moves and then guerrilla marketing moves. And I see that swing back and forth. I personally hate gimmicks. I like things that really like create community and drive people to push them to be together and push them to work together. And so whenever I do marketing initiatives, which one I hope comes together next year, is really about that. I think that's really important to me, and I think important to us as an industry. We have to stick together right now. So
100%, and the gatekeeping has to stop, in my opinion. But 32s, okay, real quick, my opinion on 32s is that it's going to weed out or hinder a lot of smaller women getting on bikes.
Yeah,
because there are women 5'4" and below that don't even like 29ers. They've tried it. Literally, a friend of mine has a Liv. She's 5 foot tall. She's my neighbor.
Yeah.
And used to be a triathlete. She hit me up yesterday and she goes, yeah, I really want to put 27s in the front. It's a mulleted bike.
Yeah.
And she's like, I should have just gotten a 27.
She doesn't like the mullet.
She doesn't like the mullet. I love a mullet, but for her, the 29er in the front it hinders her from even rolling, like doing so much. And she's a strong woman. She doesn't like it. Okay. So I think the 32s, I'd be curious to try it, but it's just, to me, my opinion, it's another example of not really thinking of the female consumer in mind.
Yeah, or smaller consumer. Yeah.
Or a smaller consumer.
I don't disagree 100%. I mean,
smaller consumer.
Yeah, I went from a 2929 back to a 275, and then the Rascal will be a 2929. So I still haven't gotten to throw a leg over it. I had to get the leaves picked up instead of go ride this evening because it's going to possibly rain or snow tonight. So, at any rate, I'll be curious how I feel back on a 2929. We've gotten better about fitting those within that smaller frame. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, and the reality is, if I'm butt buzzing at all, I'm too far back.
Yeah. So there's that.
It's like a good morning. Hey, you're in the wrong spot. You're riding in the back seat. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I freaking loved having you on the podcast. I think you and I could sit here and talk for another few hours, honestly.
Yes. And I did hear your accent. I hear it now, by the way.
My Aussie accent.
Because I would have been like, after, like, are you from somewhere else?
Okay. So the next time we hang out, we're going to have some whiskey, and then you're going to really hear my accent just flourish.
I will have some whiskey. I only, if I drink, I only drink on a weekend now.
Okay.
And usually it's Saturday night at the Otter, which is where I'll probably see you next. But if I can find time, I'm going to be in your zone in January. So
Yes.
yeah, we can.
Okay, we got
when are you back? When are you even back pedaling? It's a while still. Yeah.
February. Yeah. I mean, I'm on the Zwift trainer now, but you know, mountain biking is very different.
Sure. Yeah, it's much more
standing, like ankle mobility, all that stuff. Yeah. One last question for you before we go. What's something in Conti's bike division now that you're really excited about that we should keep an eye on, that you can disclose or talk about? Or if you can't, then that's okay.
I can. So, yeah. It would definitely be keep an eye on the mountain bike line.
Okay.
I want to say something too. Yeah. People hate our names. They hate them. And I want to tell you something. For the most part, they're named after elements in the periodic table. So kryptitol is named after krypton. Argitol is argon. Hydrotol, hydrogen. We don't know where dubnitol came from. Xylitol, we also don't know. We are inventing elements as well. Magnetol is magnesium. So they come from elements in the periodic table. And then we put them in this periodic table to explain like the casing compounds. And the casing compounds are also quite simple. Casings are literally what you ride. Do you ride DH, enduro, trail, race? Right. Race, of course, is in an XC world. So maybe we could have called that XC, but nonetheless, that's where that sits. And then the compounds are super soft. There is grip and rapid now and endurance, but for the most part, us mountain bikers sit in soft and super soft. Okay. So if you go and look at our periodic table, you'll notice some very apparent holes. And I do think for lighter riders, and I would never say that, this is a women's specific tire. No, that's not what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But there is an area, I think, in the trail category that is going to get filled out that I'm very excited about. There's one already available, the Trail Soft Kryptitol front. And you can run the Kryptitol front in the front and the rear, just like maybe somebody called the DHF and the DHR. You can run those front and rear. You could run a DHR in the front and the DHF in the rear. So it's actually a bit faster rolling in the rear. So if you want to try out a Trail Soft, they're only available in 2.9. I'd love for you to do that. I'd keep your eye out there. Keep your eye out in that enduro category. I think there's some exciting stuff coming. Amazing. I'm very excited about it. So.
Amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be a highlight of this clip. Ding, marked it. 5 rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready? And then we are done. Here we go.
Do I talk fast for these?
Yeah. Don't think, just answer. First thing that comes to your head. Clipless or flats?
Oh, I'm always clipless. I'm terrible on flats.
Chamois or chamois?
Oh, chamois.
Mountains or desert?
Mountains.
Favorite trail snack?
Favorite trail?
Snack.
Oh, my favorite trail snack? Oh, it's Luna bars. And it's
okay. Favorite place to ride?
I love riding at home. We're so lucky here. So there's a little place called Netherland. I love Netherland, and I love Apex, and people can tell me how annoying and lame that is, but I don't care. I love Apex.
It doesn't matter. Do you have fun? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeanette. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insight and your story and the work that you've done in the industry and what you continue to do to push women forward. Like, I loved hearing some of your stories, even back at Yeti, when you're like, okay, we ended this line, but we're going to still do things for women in a different way. That's really freaking important. And if y'all want to connect with Jeanette, she is on Continental socials, I think. I don't know, go follow Conti. And see.
Okay, you can follow. My personal account is private because of my political leanings. So buckle up.
There's nothing wrong with
it. You have comments about them in a negative way, probably. You can find me on LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, Janette Sherman. My first name is spelled strange, Janette, and it is Jeanette, not Janet.
Don't be. I'm going to put links, show notes, all these things here that people can find you. And for those of you listening, thank you again so much. Please go and subscribe to our website, subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. And we will catch you on the next one. Have a great night.
Hey, you too.